Welcome to JLive. I'm Laura Mandel, J-Art's Executive Director, and it's great to be with you for JLive, our virtual series where we bring you bite-sized conversations about Jewish life and art with the best artists with Boston connections. Tonight, we're actually with a very special group of musicians. I know we promised you Violinist Ilana Zaks, and we are very lucky tonight to have a treat. She will be performing a world premiere of a new piece by composer Lila Meretzky, who is also with us, and she will be with pianist Anthony Ratinov. So, welcome. So, of course, as always, if you have questions while we're speaking, please put them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we'll answer as many of them as time allows. So, before we start with some music, Lila, since you are here for this very special opportunity, and this is a premiere of your new piece tonight, can you tell us a little bit about it before they play it for us?
Yes, absolutely. Firstly, I just want to express my gratitude to JArts for supporting musicians, especially during this time. And it's a real privilege to be able to collaborate in this supported way and present our work on this, wonderful public forum. So thank you for this, firstly. A little bit about the piece. It's entitled The End of Seasons, and it was written especially for this live stream for Anthony and Ilana. The inspiration behind the piece started when I read a headline a few months ago of the same name, The End of Seasons, which was for a news article about weather and climate. And when I read this very striking phrase, The End of Seasons, my mind immediately went to the quote from Ecclesiastes, "To everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." And it made me think about this question in both a literal and a more metaphorical sense. What happens when there are no more seasons? Because in this age, that's a reality that we're facing, that these rhythms that have shaped human life for a very long time, almost all of it, in fact, are becoming disrupted. In the literal sense, we know what's happening. We only have to listen to scientists and activists who are telling us about the effects of disrupted climate patterns, the effects it's happening on life on Earth. But in a metaphorical sense, asking what happens when there are no more seasons, when the patterns of our life are disrupted, seemed more suitable to the musical medium because it's temporal and it's happening on the same axis that we are experiencing these changes in our lives. And to varying degrees, we can listen to life play out in music. And so this theme of shifting cycles and disrupted patterns was a major force in shaping the actual musical material of the piece. I wanted to create a sense of precarious patterns. And so the piece is structured with a variety of different patterns, sort of rhythmic and having to do with pitch and harmony. And gradually these build together to a head and they sort of coalesce and fall apart at various points. And the piece is all about following the journey of these different patterns, inspired by how we are all on this, dealing with shifting patterns on an extremely large scale. I know that science and activism and political will are what we need to address these issues in the larger sense, but I think art has a role to be there to process these things. And so now I will turn it over to my wonderful collaborators, Anthony and Ilana, who will give the premiere of The End of Seasons. Thank you.
What a beautiful piece. Please take another bow, please. That was absolutely gorgeous. Thank you. Anthony and Ilana, beautiful. Lila, what a gorgeous, nuanced piece. It's really something special. So here's what I think is so interesting is typically our JLive segments are only with one artist so that we can really do a deep dive into your story. But what I love is just as collaborations are important to us at J Arts, it is clear to me that collaboration is so core to who you all are as artists and how this came to be. So can you tell us a little bit about the collaboration that made this beautiful piece happen? And Ilana, kick us off.
Sure. So Lila actually and I met in the summer, and I actually played one of her pieces called Red Hands, and I really loved it. So I think it was in October or something. Um, I commissioned her to write a piece for Anthony and I, specifically for J Arts. And Anthony and I had been playing together basically all semester last year and also this year. And Anthony and I both really enjoy playing together. And I really love Lila's music. So I decided that maybe it would be an interesting combination. Anthony, I don't think, has ever really played new music before.
No.
So this was a first experience for Anthony in working with a live composer. So it was very interesting to collaborate with Lila, both live but also remotely, sort of. Um, and we just learned a lot from learning the piece, and also even just learning from premiering this performance and things that we'd like to do differently in the next performance.
Yeah, and I think our collaboration also, both this semester and in the past, has really been fueled by a lot of shared values. I would say, I think musically, culturally, we just have a lot in common, and it really brought us together in the very beginning. And Lila was an incredible addition to that collaboration as well.
For sure.
I will say you can hear and feel that in your playing and in this piece, absolutely. And what I think is so beautiful is you just said we share a lot of things in common, including our culture. And I love that when I said I want to hear Ilana's Jewish story, her response was, I want you to hear all of our Jewish stories, because I think it's clearly so core to who you all are. So Anthony, go ahead. Would you tell us a little bit about your Jewish story and how that informs who you are as a musician?
Yeah, so I was born in the United States, but my family is all from Russia, from Moscow. And my piano teacher, up until coming to college, was actually my grandmother, who taught at the Moscow Gnesian School for 45 years. She was a pianist there. And a lot of this traces back to her story. When she was growing up, she was kind of a piano prodigy, However, growing up in the Soviet Union in the early 20th century, there was a lot of anti-Semitism, and so my grandmother was unable to excel and really develop as a solo artist. And so she resorted to teaching instead, which greatly benefited me because I got to study with her, of course. But that's a story that has really stuck with me, and me just having the opportunity to pursue music now, a solo career, and also collaboration, it just really means a lot to both me, my parents, and my grandma. Kind of really just making her proud and doing what she wasn't able to do when she was younger. And yeah, so it's my heritage has really been very important, and I think musically it's just the Russian Jewish aspect. There's great overlap. It goes into how I was musically trained and grew up in the atmosphere that I grew up in. So it definitely means a lot to me.
That's really beautiful. And I can guarantee you're making your grandmother proud. So Lila, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm from New York City, and I grew up with a lot of Jewish music around me and in the atmosphere. Liturgical music at synagogue. I knew a lot of klezmer musicians growing up, and also in the home, all kinds of folk songs and stuff. And so that has definitely been an influence on my music. I think maybe less in the sort of sonic aspect of it and more in some of the philosophical things that I bring to the composing process. I also love to work with texts by particularly Yiddish authors, and I've recently set a bunch of poems by Anna Margolin, who was a early 20th century Yiddish poet. And so I draw a lot of inspiration from literature and also the sort of musical atmosphere that I grew up with.
I love that. And I see much space for future collaborations between all of us. All right. And Ilana, go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, so similarly to Anthony, my family is also from Russia. They're from Kiev. And I'm the fourth generation of violinists in my family. So I did not grow up in a very religious home, but we always kept kosher. But similarly to Anthony, what's particularly important to me about being Jewish is all the values of giving to others and the value of bringing art to communities. And another thing is being passionate about what I do and authentically so. And I think what's also really important to me as a Jewish violinist is the connection between all the great Jewish violinists leading up to me. And I think it's really amazing that these people exist, and it inspires me every day to practice harder or to even listen to their recordings. And I always take something new away from listening to them, and also just listening to them talk about their careers. Another thing that is very meaningful to me is chutzpah. And for me, as a musician, especially now, you got to have some of that. So
More than some of that. You got it.
thank you. I mean, even reaching out to Anthony, that involves some chutzpah, and even reaching out to Lila. But yeah, a lot of my musical projects and a lot of my musical philosophy about how I approach music comes from that philosophy of really diving in and really giving your all. And I really value that chutzpah and authenticity, and I really value also overall social awareness.
I'm such a fan of how you inserted chutzpah into this because it could not be more true. It was the perfect use of the word, and I love it. And I can see it in you. It's a fire.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
fabulous. It is. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about other projects that you're working on right now, Ilana.
Yeah, so I'm currently directing my third film. I'm a CCAM fellow here at Yale. And one of the pieces that I'm working on is actually I'm working with an architect to create a virtual space that will allow for a variety of Jewish people from different backgrounds to meet. And basically what the space is we're designing a place that includes a lot of different aspects of a variety of sectors of Judaism, because especially now I think every community is very, very much separated by their own values. And I think Judaism is such a beautiful culture and religion that uniting conversations and opening new conversations in a space that is virtual, especially now, is a great opportunity. And it doesn't matter too much now where we are as far as location, because everybody is virtual. So that's one of the pieces, and I actually composed sort of a piece based on I'm like scared to say it because Lila's here, but I sort of composed this solo violin work based on some themes from Fiddler on the Roof, and that will be kind of playing in the background as there's a tour of this virtual space, which is also going to be in augmented reality and 360 technology. That's just one part of the film, but it's specifically related to the Jewish aspect. And
that's very cool. We'll have to talk about that or do the augmented reality tour when it's ready.
Definitely. The film premieres on May 10th. So it'll premiere virtually, and I'll definitely update you on the links and everything.
That's great. That sounds wonderful. So I think we could talk all night because the three of you are so interesting and talented, but I admit that we are almost at time. So what I would love to do is have you tell us about the piece you're going to play us out with.
Sure. So the last piece that we'll be playing is the Chrysler's Caprice Vienoir. And Chrysler is one of those great violinists from that Jewish area that I was mentioning earlier. He was actually born on February 2nd, the same day as Jascha Heifetz, two of my favorite violinists. And oftentimes Jascha Heifetz would play this piece, and Chrysler himself recorded it. It's basically an homage to old Viennese style, and he was Austrian Viennese Jewish violinist and composer. And this is a really beautiful work. I think that we can all use a piece to dance to, even mentally.
Thank you both so much. That was absolutely beautiful. This has been such a treat to be with you tonight. And just so everyone knows out there, next up on JLive, we have artist Silvina Mizrahi on Friday, April 2nd at 12 p.m. And of course, if you like what you saw tonight, I hope you will support J Arts with a gift, because that is how we are able to support wonderful artists like Ilana and Anthony and Lila. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And thank you all for being here to enjoy this with me. Have a great one.
Much.
Thank you so much for hosting us.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon.
Bye.